Ratio Christi is just really a ministry for the time. 50 to 80% of students that are in college and have regularly been going to church in high school stop attending when they get to college. And that's because they're encountering problems and questions that they've never had before.
So I believe Ratio Christi is needed on the CSU campus because in the political and social climate we have today, there needs to be a place where we can have open, rational discussion on the really big topics and the big questions that matter the most. The questions of why are we here, where are we going, is there the supernatural, is there anything other than the natural, really need to be answered and talked about in a place where you can feel free to disagree and you can be open to the fact that you could be very wrong. And it's one of the hardest things to do, to look at your own beliefs and to openly question them and have to defend them in a line of reasoning that defends your worldview, that's very open to questions and criticism.
I'd say the most important thing that I've learned is not taking things face value and actually looking deeper into what you hear.
The most important thing I've learned from Ratio Christi is just about the different religions and how to talk to people with different backgrounds, different faiths, different, whatever it is. And also being able to talk to other Christians even, and that maybe have a different viewpoint, and be able to talk to them and sometimes change my own viewpoint. And to, sometimes we look at the history, looking at the original Hebrew or the Greek, and then talking to other Christians about it and getting a better understanding of what the Bible really teaches.
I think the hardest thing to defend about Christianity is Christianity itself. It's very specific, and it's very black and white. Either you believe in God or you don't. You believe in the true God or you don't.
For me, during my undergraduate at Iowa State, I questioned whether or not belief in God was reasonable. So for me, these arguments that there was some kind of incoherency in just the notion of theism, to me, that bothered me a lot. Like, look, if there's some kind of logical contradiction, it just can't be true.
Anytime a person comes to you and is asking a question from a place of emotional hurt or a life experience that was bad, like the Christian treated them poorly or was hypocritical or anything like this, I find those questions hardest to answer, simply because you can't give a straight philosophical or analytical answer to them, right? You have to really dialogue with the person as a person, and there isn't a straight answer a lot of times.
I think the hardest thing to defend is why do bad things happen to good people? That's one that's just hard to understand. If there's an all-good God, if there's an all-knowing God, an all-powerful God, how would he allow something like that to exist? And that's a hard question to dialogue with students. But even with that, there's some really good answers out there. And so I think it's cool to be able to equip students in that.
I think it's important for people to know how to defend what they believe and know why they believe it and be able to communicate it to other people.
So I think Ratio Christi is important in general, because I think apologetics is important in general, and the college campus is probably one of the most fertile places to have conversations. You just live in close proximity with a lot of your peers, and generally with the high intellectual level, obviously on a college campus, tough questions come up, and as a Christian, having the answers to these questions, or at least the ability to dialogue well, is very important. And so that's why I think Ratio Christi is a good place to have on campus. So.
As a ministry, as Ratio Christi, what we're able to do is kind of come alongside these students and say, we know you have good questions, and they're great, good, honest questions, reasonable questions to be bringing up. But there's great answers to them too. And so we come along as a ministry to say, here's a great place for you to come and ask those questions, to dialogue with us, to explore, to see why there are good reasons to know that Christianity is true, is what it was all said to be. And it's not just something that you believe in because it feels good. You believe in it because it's true, just like anything else out there.
Probably the best thing, and the most impactful thing for me has been seeing students get excited about Christianity, seeing Christianity through a new lens, a new light, and a new enthusiasm, because it's so much bigger than they thought it was before.